Hello. So, wanted to come back on and talk about some of my contemplations about religion. And so, I'm thinking I'm probably going to make this a series. It will likely be kind of sporadic just because YouTube content is unfortunately not my primary career. It is certainly my passion, but I'll get there, right? So anyway, just kind of for years, I think this is something that I've needed to put out there. So I kind of have been feeling this nudge to do that, and I've finally come across some incredibly mentally, spiritually stimulating books, people, ideas that have resonated with me so strong. And so I'm kind of taking that as a cue to really kind of put my message out there, put my experience out there, my contemplations, my thoughts on the usefulness of religion. And I also just want to say that this is also inspired by an atheist Facebook friend of mine. So anyway, without further ado, I want to just kind of this is probably going to be a super short video, but it's a starting point, so here we go. Okay, so first, to let you know my context, I grew up in a home where I was raised by my grandmother and my grandfather on my mother's side. And they just happened to be Jehovah's Witnesses. And so up until I was about 11, 10, I don't know, somewhere between 10 and 12, the Kingdom Hall and Jehovah's Witnesses was the only experience and understanding that I had about who God is, what he's like, what he does not do. And of course, all the multitude of requirements to be a good person, if you want to get in heaven or if you want to go be resurrected on the new earth. Let me say that my idea of heaven came after my cousin snuck me to church when I was like 10 or 12. Anyway, that's my foundation. Okay, so fast forward, to age 10, 12, my cousin went to a Pentecostal church. It was a Church of God, and I loved that church so much. So, she snuck me to church because we couldn't let my grandmother know, because my grandmother would have a total meltdown, because she truly believed that church was evil and demonic. I know. That's another video for another day, because keep going. Stay on point. So, anyway, so then that was kind of like my first taste of experiencing the manifested presence of God, of his spirit, of interacting with God, okay? And I was just like, wow, this is amazing. And I remember having some supernatural experiences, and it was just really good for me, okay? So throughout my high school years, I would attend the church off and on, and so then after I graduated, I decided not to go to college because I really just wanted a break. Like I've said in other videos, I had a very, very traumatic, stressful childhood. I was inundated from the time I was born, literally, until I graduated high school with frequent, unrelenting trauma, okay? So when I graduated high school, I did not want to go right back into the stress of college. I needed a break. So I took that break and just didn't go to church because I had moved at that time. I moved out when I was 18 to be with my dad because I found my dad on my birthday, which was amazing. And so went for a few years not in church, met a man, and we got married. He's like 12 years older than me. I was 18, he was 30 when we met. And that it started off okay, but then like I discovered he had like some anger issues, and then later on discovered he has some mood issues and some other things going on, you know, things that he has definitely worked on to the best of his ability. But anyway, so you know, there was these 4 or 5 years that I just didn't go to church at all. So, long story short, 9/11 happened, and I took that as a sign that I needed to get back in church or I was going to miss the rapture. And that was my greatest fear. I remember it was storming one night, right? And I was so sound asleep, and it thundered really loud, and I was like, I sat straight up in my bed and I was like, I missed the rapture. That was literally what I did. So, yeah, and I was just terrified, you know. Okay, so there's that. So I get into church, and yes, it was amazing the first year. And I'm getting messages from my friends telling me, oh shoot, this is so close to becoming a blooper video. Anyway, I'm just seeing messages come across my screen. My friends are like, that was a great video you just posted. So like, I sincerely hope that you will subscribe to my channel, and maybe your messages can come across my phone and tell me how much you enjoy them. So anyway, church was great. I had such an incredible experience. I felt so close to God. I felt just so, there's just this spiritual intimacy that was unlike anything I've ever experienced. And I can say that still as someone who has transformed quite a bit, someone who is not in church. More on that later. But still, that's an amazing point in my life that I hope I will be able to salvage going forward in a non-religious lifestyle. So anyway, my marriage fell apart, and I became a real estate agent when I was formerly an evangelist. I was also an associate pastor for, 2 or 3 years maybe. But it just was not sustainable to be full-time in ministry and full-time in a sales career. And my sales career, I'm just going to be ultra transparent here, guys. My sales career was the ruination of my ministry and my marriage. And that was all my ex-husband at this point. That's all he wanted me to do, was be a realtor. You know, it was like, basically he was going to divorce me if I would not lay down my desires and be a realtor. So I did, and I told him, I was like, if I do this, we're not going to make it. Because I had made my whole entire life about making him happy. And as a result, I lost all of my happiness. All of it. So, anyway, fast forward to my mid-30s. I'm now like 35 and getting ready to divorce, and just really feeling like God had failed me. Like, why couldn't you save my marriage? Why could you not intervene in some way and help me? And so I felt a lot of bitterness towards God for the unrelenting trauma. It's like, my God, does it ever end? Okay. And so I get out of church, and I'm out of church, and all over these past years, I have been reflecting on religion versus spirituality, okay? And I came to the conclusion, this is where it's all finally going to get good, right? We're like 11 minutes in. I'm so sorry. So I finally come to the conclusion that religion is like scaffolding. And to say that it's like scaffolding would be in agreement with what the Apostle Paul said about how we should not lay again the foundation of Christ being crucified, that we should go on from the elementary teachings of Christ. Okay, and I feel like being in the Bible Belt in the United States, I'm in Tennessee, Chattanooga, Tennessee. That's really all that's preached. And I'm just like, we're not getting anywhere. And then the whole election showed me that not only are we not getting anywhere as a church, as the called out of God, we're actually regressing into barbarism, and we are turning on each other, not me, but other people, turning against brother against brother, okay? Basically, here in the South, it has come down to the fact that if you say you're a Christian, but you're not a Republican, then your Christianity is invalid. Plain and simple. So, I am not conservative. And in retrospect, I don't think I was conservative. I might have been a little bit when I was in church, but no way. I was not conservative even then. It's just there were no issues that were swirling around to show me how contrasted I was and am to the community of believers that I was a part of. So the election and the worship of Donald Trump was really a sticking point for me. I think it was at that point when I realized that my good friends that I love so much, have so much respect for, when I saw them worshiping Donald Trump and just really like in this bizarre entanglement with this wealthy billionaire, like they don't even know, and they're sacrificing their own personal relationships just to defend his actions and his words. I was just like, what? It was just super confusing. And so I really had a definitive break. That was my definitive break from religion, particularly conservative Christianity. I no longer am a part of that. I have no desire to be a part of that. And so I've been kind of trying to find my way. In a conversation that I was having with an atheist friend, he had made a statement about how he's an atheist, but he's not anti-religious. He's not anti-religious. He understands that religion can play a good role sometimes in the lives of people. When you have a supportive community of like-minded people, that can be a very, very positive thing. So in that conversation, it occurred to me, you know what? I actually know more moral atheists than I know moral Christians at this point. So I had been thinking on that and thinking about how religion is really like a scaffolding. Like, if you stay in religion, you're never going to actually grow into the deep spiritual things. And if you don't want to grow into the deep spiritual things, if all you ever want to hear, if all you ever want to talk about is Jesus, died, he was murdered, and he hung on a cross, that's fine. You do you. If that's as far as Jesus can take you, then go with it. But that's not enough for some of us, for me. And so I thought of religion as a scaffolding. And you think about, okay, when you're using scaffolding, and I say this because I used to own a small residential construction company. Scaffolding, you build the scaffolding up so that way you can you can frame, you can position the walls, you can paint, and sometimes you just keep building that scaffolding up higher and higher as the building itself rises, right? But at some point, that scaffolding is going to have to come down, and the building is the house or whatever building you're scaffolding is going to have to stand on its own. Okay, think about that. I'm being quiet because I really want you to let that sink in. At some point, that building's got to be able to stand on its own. You're going to have to trust the foundation. Okay? Well, my friend said that he was reading this book called The Ideas of Rene Girard. I don't know if I'm pronouncing the name correctly, so if I'm not, please educate me. This is the book. Whoa. That got kind of crazy. The Ideas of Rene Girard, and it is by David Cayley, and then here are some other contributors, okay? And so essentially in this book, it is an interview or like a survey of Rene Girard's thoughts on religion, scapegoating, and let me go back to the innocent victim, the scandal of the cross, the Archimedean point. But anyway, it just talks about religion and violence, essentially. So I wanted to read to you the very first thing I read in this book, okay? This is on page 1 in the introduction, and this is a quote by Rene Girard. It says, "Religion is the means through which the order and the peace which is created by the first murder gradually turns into a cultural system." Think about that. Sit with that. Contemplate with me the implications of that. Humanity is the child of religion. In a way, listen to this, in a way, religion is like the placenta which protects the newborn and gets discarded when he's really born. I was like, oh my gosh, that is a much better way to describe religion than scaffolding. And I thought, yes, that's how I feel. Like, That's what it takes. And that's how you know when you are seeking and nothing else will satisfy you but to go as deep as you possibly can into spirituality, into ancient truths, and deep diving into your own self, your own psyche, and doing, your own shadow work. You will totally know that will resonate with you. That statement will resonate with you, because that's what it's like. It's like it's in place, and it has a place. It really does have a place, as crappy as it is right now, especially. I feel like we've gone back to the Dark Ages and in the Crusades, almost. But it has a place, and it's good. It's a good door opener for people who have no other means to begin a comprehensive exploration of finding out who God is, or understanding spirit, understanding spirituality. Because me personally, my journey, and I knew this back when I was in church every single week, preaching, teaching, evangelizing, praying, I was a Pentecostal Church of God style minister at the time. And so I knew in my heart that there was so much more. But if all I had was a text and some people who said the same thing month after month and year after year, I was like, I'm not going to get anywhere near where I want to be in my relationship with God like this, because this is counterproductive. It's counterproductive, and nobody is stopping to say, hey, what we're doing here is not working. It's not propagating. It's not life giving unto life. It's just routine. It's just religion. I'm not saying that's bad. I'm just saying there's more. So, so then over the past few years, I have kind of gone into a more esoteric path. And so that's what feels right for me in my pursuit of God, and in my pursuit of expressing myself authentically in a spiritual way. I don't know if that just made sense or not. If it didn't, let me know. That's kind of where I'm at right now. But when Rene Girard said religion is like placenta, it protects the newborn. It protects the newborn. And I remember feeling that way. But it should get discarded after you're really born. And isn't that what Jesus talks about? You need to be born again. And I think being born again is so much more than, Lord Jesus, I have sinned. Please forgive me. I ask you to come into my heart and be my Lord and Savior forever. Is that a step in the right direction? Probably. But that is definitely a Bible Belt born again scenario. It's not like that in other parts of the world. It's not understood that way in other parts of the world. I don't know. So, but I feel more reborn now, and more authentically close to God now than I did when I was in the fishbowl of religion. Now, like I said earlier, there is one thing that I hope to salvage out of my time in religion, and that is just the supernatural manifested presence of God where I interact with Him. And so I still do that to a degree, but life gets in the way, so I do it as I can in my own private worship. So yeah, anyway, that's kind of where I'm at. Wanted to let you guys know that. And yeah, I feel like I am post religion, and just really in a much better place spiritually. I'm definitely more pro-humanity. I feel like I'm more pro-humanity like Jesus is. I feel like I identify more with Him now than I did whenever I was in the fishbowl of religion and routine in religion. So anyway, just thought I'd throw that out there. And I probably will do a series on this. Like I said, it'll be sporadic, so just bear with me. Check in from time to time. Turn your notifications on so that way whenever I do post a video, you will know that it is available for your viewing pleasure and contemplating pleasure. But yeah, so religion, it has a place, but it is more like scaffolding, where at some point the building is going to be built and it has to stand on its own, and you just have to remove the scaffolding to see how you did, see if you can trust the foundation. Religion is like placenta. It should get discarded, once you're really born. So I will leave those thoughts with you, and I hope that as you watch this video, know that my prayer is for you and yours to be well, to be encouraged, to be empowered, to be equipped, and yeah. Okay, thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, turn on notifications, and all that good stuff. Love on me, please. All right, have a great night or day. Bye.